Hey everyone, JSD Cool here, and welcome to another episode of Coolcraft Season 8. Now, just a few moments ago, I found this horse just kind of standing over this way somewhere. Just kind of, standing there. So I decided to tame it and see what the deal with this one was, and 11.722. This is a ridiculously fast horse to just spawn naturally. And it can also jump like 4 blocks. This is ridiculous. Anyhow, yes, so in the last episode, what did I do? I did villager things. Also, there was a village here at the start of the last episode. It's not here anymore. Okay, good that didn't pop the crops there. But yeah, I did that. I did villager things. There's villagers, iron golems up there. There's some stuff underground. We did a bunch of stuff in the last episode. It's rather long, but hey, it's still a good watch. You should go watch it. Anyhow, now in between episodes, I have been doing a little bit of stuff around here. For instance, I did a lot of terraforming over this way because pretty shortly we are going to be going and wheat fielding-ifying all this stuff. In fact, I completely terraformed this hill down, made it a bit flatter, less high, so that we could roll the wheat over it nice and nice. Haven't done that yet with this hill, but that will be happening in the future. But first, I got another idea for something I wanted to do since the last episode. So, in the last episode, I built this little room here, which is kind of my impromptu slime farm. We have allays here. We splash them with an infested potion from the dispenser underneath here. We splash them with an infested potion. There's a good thing. Splash them with an infested potion. We then shove them into this block so they take a bunch of suffocation damage. Silverfish will come out, flooding the room here, eventually filling the thing, and then we splash them with oozing, and then once they've all been oozed, we do this. And then they die. Now, I was noticing that after I got this size of room, the amount of slime I got seemed to be significantly less out of this, which is a bit confusing. I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with the sides of the room. And we originally had this as 5x5, but when we switched it to be able to do that, we switched it to 3x5 because we can't... Oh, there goes my axe. Because, piston push limits are a thing and everything had to be, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks as is. 12 is the limit, as we know. So yeah. But in between episodes, I thought of a way I could potentially do it in the 5x5 room. Now, it wouldn't be as fast as this, per se, but if we did a piston feed tape to swap out the magma and the planks, we could get it to be 5x5. So I think I'm going to start rigging up that right now. Alright, I have done it. I have, as you can see, re-expanded the room to 5x5 here. I will put that block back in the center so we can stand there. But if I press this button, you'll see the floor. And this is way slower than before because clocks, and this is the fastest I could get this clock without having to do a lot more engineering because, I'm still resource poor here. I see it shifted over to magma. I can press the button again, and then it shifts right back over to the planks. So, yeah, perfect for killing all those slimes. And as you can see down here, here's the redstone. None of this space got used. But I had to dig out a whole bunch more space back here. So here's the clock. It's 4 hoppers. Pretty similar stuff on these sides. This side, I didn't want to put a pistons here, so we have them retracting blocks. Also, the clock is being controlled by this slice right here. When there's a solid block here, it turns the thing off. But we turn the torch off to start it, so that's what goes up to the lever there. And yeah, that's pretty much the redstone. It took a while, but I got it done. So yeah, I'll give this thing a test run. And now, enjoy this time-lapse of me wheatifying the field to be a bit bigger. The entire part of this island, between this path and the ocean there, has now been fully covered in wheat, and yeah, this looks great. I decided that I just didn't want to put any wheat on this level here, because it's like so small and right next to the path. I'm like, screw it. Nothing here, we'll just, you know, keep down there. But yeah, that is, for now at least, the expansion of the wheat field. Later in this episode, I'll have to come back and tackle terraforming this mess, and it starts raining. We can just start ignoring that, because we're going to head underground here to start working with the villagers. Now, at the end of the last episode, I came and built this room here, which will be my villager deciding room. And we started coming in here. We got this one villager here, who we've started training with a bit, but that's as far as we got. So now I'm going to go start extending this tunnel a bit and start clearing out rooms for some villager farms to go in. Alright, I have done a bunch of digging. I've broken an entire diamond pickaxe in this digging, so that was fun. But yeah, this is the area where our farm here is going to go. And it's a giant diagonally dug out thing, because that's what we do for giant villager farms these days. I also got this little mechanical trench in the center here, and this other little access trench. I haven't thought at all about how storage is going to work for this yet, so alright, I have finished the farm itself. As you can see, I've planted crops in each of the 4 quadrants, each one being a different crop, of course. Now, the next step is to get villagers in, and I've started preparing for that. You can see I have rails leading to all 4 parts of it now, going all the way around. However, I can't just directly put villagers in here, because that just, that has problems with it. Mostly that there's probably potatoes in the inventories of the villagers, so I gotta first build a thing to get the potatoes out of the villagers' inventories, and then I can bring them in here. So I'm gonna get doing that. That could take a while. Alright, so I've gotten the 4 villagers that will eventually occupy that room inside, or eventually occupy the farm in there, inside of these, I guess, cells right now. Basically, I started by making the... Oh, there he is. I thought he disappeared for a second. Basically, they originally were 5x5, but I realized we can't hydrate this last bit of land, so let's not do it. But yeah. There's a workstation, there's farmland, they plant the potatoes in their inventory, and I'll come in periodically and remove them so that they can't harvest them and get more, and then eventually their inventories will be empty and they'll be perfect material to shove into the farm. Now, the other thing I'm going to need for that farm in order to, well, collect the items is allays, because that's how this farm is designed, so it's time to duplicate them again. Alright, I haven't seen anyone planting any crops in a while, so I'm assuming now that everyone is good and ready to go. So we're gonna start transferring them over into the farm. Let's do this. Villagers have been installed into the farm. Now, okay, good. They did get their professions. It was kind of weird how they weren't. But I've left these 2 in mine carts because I need to do the allay insertion, which is kind of tricky. So I've devised a plan that will hopefully go very smoothly. So let's go, guys. Now let me tell you, dragging these guys around underground is, or just in general, is annoying, but especially underground. God, these guys are annoying. How does anyone? Oh God, are they going to be able to even get around this corner? Here, yeah. See, this is part of what's it's part of what I'm talking about when these guys are a pain. Thankfully, this is the only one of these that will have to go around. Okay. Finally got around that corner. And then they just want to spread out, and then they get caught on everything. Leads are kind of a pain. Alright. Here we go. So, we'll grab glass. We'll come in here. No, you guys are going to get stuck on the glass. Yeah. Can't really... It's going to want to... Okay. Okay, it's finally actually inside the farm. Okay, so then what we're gonna do? We can now get this villager out of his minecart. Oh, which means we're gonna have to break the crops. That's fine. All right, then we take these. Now, why are they on the ground now? Anyway, we take these guys off their leads. Come on. I thought it would be quicker. Okay, now that they're off the leads, we quickly ender pearl to the other side. Crap. Oh well. No ability to fix that. Get that guy out of the minecart. And there we go. They're now stuck in the farm. The farm is operational. Oh, and now we turn on the note block, so I'll try to throw all their things to this hopper system down here. Also, by putting a player head on top of the note block, we prevent the note block from actually making any noise, so it's not annoying. Just so happened I only had a Tyler head lying around, but worked out nonetheless. And now this farm should be good, so I just need to AFK in the area, and it should all work. Now, it will take a while for the farm to ramp up. I think potatoes and carrots should probably start outputting relatively quickly, and everything else eventually will have an output. But yeah, it's especially going to take a while for the beets and wheat to get cranking as the villagers' inventories slowly fill up. But yeah, this thing should be working now. There should be output being generated. In fact, those couple potatoes should make their way into here, and very little, I'm just going to put all the stuff I had on me, very little if no seeds should ever get in here, although I will say we do have some hoppers under the path blocks closest to the, farmland closest to the center, that way, wow, yeah, a bunch of stuff is being thrown in there. Oh yeah, that way when they miss, it still gets collected, so, and hopefully the other villagers don't collect, so yeah, now that that's done, time to build the storage for this, arguably just as important. Alright, I'm in the process of building up the storage for this, and I think I do want to make it bigger than this, but I'm going for more of like a cascading bulk style rather than the normal just like kind of pile up chests. And I've run out of chests and I've exhausted all my wood, so I think it's about time for us to do a quick little time lapse watching the forest that at this point is going to be used to be behind my barn disappear. So let's get into that. Now that I've gotten a lot more wood, all the chests have been installed and the storage is good and ready to open. Wow, that's a fair bit more seeds and stuff than I was expecting, but, well, here, we'll put another, that's kind of a problem. I can't get up there right now. But yeah, I guess we'll just go filter that stuff out. So now that stuff should be filtering in the storage, and while that happens, I can work on the edges, because currently it's just a little bit of a long hallway in here. And I'm going to want something that is a bit better at coming in and sloping down, because what my plan is, we're going to have the storage here, and then we're going to have the villager trading hall that way, so that I can easily access these things to get a bunch of emeralds. So that's going to involve a bit more digging. I've made a fair amount of progress here. So first of all, here's the storage. I realized I skipped this column somehow. I think only the potatoes and carrots have anything right now. I do need to go up there and make sure to install a dropper to spit out all the overflow / junk items like seeds. Besides that, I've actually made a proper interface here. So first of all, I've dug this as the actual access here. It comes right down from the hallway here, it's stairs here, and then minecart tracks here, so we can take villagers down here, and then this is where the trading hall is going to be. We're going to have our storage for items we can trade with the villagers here, and then right over to the villagers over this way. Now, there was a cave here, which is very convenient, and we'll definitely be expanding the trading hall into this cave as time goes on. But yeah, you can also see here I've laid out where the various villager cells are going to go. And now it's time we can actually start putting in some of the farmers who will be taking these resources off our hands. Oh, and I hope this goes without saying, but yeah, this looks hella ugly right now. I'm gonna definitely make sure to make this all look better later in the future, but that's not a task for this episode. Alright, I've installed a few farmer villages here, a good mix of the various inputs here. Now, it also is the next day. Now, kind of as expected, this is a long-term farm. It's not the fastest thing in the world. So we got a bit of wheat, a bit of the beets, but more importantly, a whole whack ton of carrots and potatoes. But we do go through those things extremely fast when we trade them. Other than that, I've also started building out the trading hall. We've got more space for farmers over here. Over this way, I've started putting in some toolsmiths over this way. We will get some... yeah, probably like a weaponsmith and armor, and probably more toolsmiths over the other side here. And then eventually we'll expand this wing out and have librarians. But that takes resources and stuff to do, and as you can tell by how I'm just I don't have much in the way of resources. So I think it's time for another 1-hour mining session, this time with replay mod. So it's not just a cut and it's done. Let's go! Alright, here is the result of that mining session, and I think that is better than last time. It's almost half a stack of diamonds. Quite nice for not using any fortune. Now that I've gotten that done, I think it's finally time that I ditch these 2 pieces of iron armor and iron tools once and for all. And to do that, I need to go back to the villagers, and specifically get the villagers to have the trades for the things that I need. So, let's do that. Alright, I've gotten the 2 villagers that I guess I didn't have. I have a bunch of toolsmiths. We'll get to the tools from them in a moment. But for the armor, I've got a set of armor from this, and these are actually pretty decent. We got protection, protection 2, fire protection, blast protection. Obviously, there's some unbreaking thrown in the mix there. That is more than appreciated. And from the weaponsmith, we got an efficiency 2 diamond axe. That'll definitely come in handy in the future. And a sharpness 1, fire aspect 1 sword. That's decent, actually. So, yeah, I'll take that. Now to get the rest of the tools from the toolsmiths. Alright then, and here's what I got for the pickaxe. I got an efficiency 1 unbreaking 1 diamond pickaxe, and efficiency 3 unbreaking 3 diamond shovel. That'll do nicely for the terraforming of the rest of the land here on the surface. And so, with that, I think I'm going to say goodbye to villagers for this episode. We've done enough with them. Yeah, now we can do a bit of work on the surface. Actually, to do the work that I want to do, I actually need to get a bunch of resources, because turns out I designed something that needs, well, more than one thing and a relative, or at least for this point in the game, abundance of it. So alright, I've collected the resources, mostly. I gotta do a little bit of concrete converting, but as you can see, it is a relatively varied set of resources to turn this thing into no longer an eyesore. So, without further ado, I will concretify this, and then let's hop into a time lapse of this becoming less stupid. Alright, so I understand it may not be necessarily too easy to determine what it is that I'm trying to build here, but this is supposed to be a bit of a grain silo here to go with my barn. Built, kind of in the middle of the field, but hey, that's where I built the villager breeder, so that's where the covering for it does to go. And, I tried to do a decent amount of texturing and whatnot on this, and I hope it didn't turn out too bad. Now, obviously, we're viewing it from a distance, so it's probably going to look pretty decent from there. A bit of, rough texture, but up close is more where I'm concerned that the detail will start to overpower its design a little bit, but I think it overall turned out fine. Of course, there is that piece of redstone dust that kind of pokes out on the side. I wasn't able to think of a good way to cover that up without making it look. The only thing, there is one thing I'm thinking that I could do. I could put a shelf over it. That might work, but regardless, this is now completed. So that then means that I can continue working on the fields. Yes, the fields. Specifically, I need to do a bit of terraforming on this hill. Now that I have diamond tools, that should be way easier because, yeah, this is not very conducive to doing fielding. So I will get doing some of that right now. Okay, so I may have gotten a little bit carried away. What originally started as me just wanting to terraform this hill here, which does look a lot different now. We don't have that sharp cliff, and it's actually shorter now, so we now have these nice rolling hills here to plant more wheat on in the near future. Yeah, what turned from me doing that turned into me just going around the entire rest of the island's coastline and doing a similar thing. So right here there was, I don't know, some caves or something. Now there's nice smooth rolling hills. Here I did actually leave it a little bit steep for a little bit of variety, but that's fine. And then right back here we've massively transformed this thing. There is a really big cliff and very steep down to the water here. As you can see, it's a nice gentle slope now that comes up here. Massively changed that, and I didn't stop here. No, that was a big thing. I had to get new tools at some point doing that. Now I haven't gone into the middle of the island and terraformed that. That comes next, I guess. But yeah, I kept coming around here and even came along this side, because while the hills and slopes over here weren't terrible, they did leave, like, not one or oh, I missed a block. Okay, I'll come back to that. But anyway, like one or no blocks down by the water here, and I wanted to make sure there's a nice flat area down by the water, and not just where the sugarcane is. So I came along here and modified this as well to keep that nice sloping hill. So now, once I get the interior all nice and sorted, this place will be perfectly ready to get wheat fielded. Alright, the inland terraforming has been done. Now this was significantly less involved than going around the edges, as I was mostly additive, say, for right here, because all this right here was actually pulled out a bit. So I pulled this, that was a bit, some of this grass here, I got rid of the little, like, kind of dent that went through the land here. Obviously, all the caves have been covered. This area is just now smooth, rolling hills, and is perfectly ready for planting to happen. Alright guys, so with that, I think that's going to be it for this episode. So I'm going to have to say thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Please make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe. Check out my game, which is linked in the description, and I see you all in the next episode of KoolCraft Season 8. Bye!